then chooses the candidate based on those electoral votes. So I get it. You feel like, well, why am I even voting? Because, I mean, one vote is not going to make a difference. You'd be surprised. One vote can make a difference. Now, granted, we've had some situations with the voting situation of votes are being voted by people who are dead, or some votes didn't get to the actual voting booth, as far as mail-in votes, and didn't get counted. I mean, that I understand. That is not a good thing. That is definitely wrong. That is definitely something that shouldn't happen. So I get that. That is something that needs to change, because I mean, everybody who votes should make sure that their vote is being included in the actual campaign, and everybody who votes should make sure that they get the right to vote, and that that vote makes it into the election. So I understand that, and I totally agree with the whole making sure that we all vote, and making sure that our vote counts, and making sure that only individuals who are citizens in the United States should vote. I agree with all of that. I totally agree with everything you're stating, because basically we want to make sure that whoever we vote in, basically they're going to take care of what? The U.S. citizens. So we don't want anybody who's not a U.S. citizen to vote, because they're not going to care about what that person does, because they're not going to be here long enough to care. Because they're not a U.S. citizen. It doesn't really affect them. So, but like I said, that was just me, talking about the voting, because honestly, it's going to be an interesting November 5th. I'm just going to say it straight off the bat. November 5th is going to be quite interesting indeed, because just thinking about who will be the next president of the United States, who will be running the House, who will be controlling the Senate, it's a scary thought. It really is. Because honestly, you really don't know. I mean, it's really up in the air right now. And with the economy that we have currently, we don't want things that's up in the air. We want things that's kind of confirmed. We want situations where we kind of know where we're heading or where we're going. We don't want to be walking into a great misty cloud and not know what's in front of us. So I'm just saying, with that situation being what it is, yeah, we want to change that. Just saying. So, moving forward, next thing on my list, and I think a very, in a way, important situation. Understanding life. I feel like people in generally the younger version generations don't understand life. They don't understand the correspondence of what life is. They don't understand the correspondence of what life is about. They don't understand what to expect when they go into living life. And I want to kind of say it's the fault of the parents, because I mean, let's be honest now. Did we as kids ask to come into this world? Like, did we say, hey, what's up? Hey, what's going on? Yeah, I'm your chromosome inside, man. Yeah, I'm come out there, man. I'm ready to come into the real world. Can you like kind of, get with somebody? Let's make that sexual music, or go out for dinner, however you want to do it, or just call an old friend, or call someone you really entertain or really like, maybe a relationship possibility. Anyway, let's get me out there in the real world. Let's make it happen, right? No, it doesn't go like that. Basically, people get up, people have fun, people have sex, and in most cases, the none, most of the time, it's a mistake. It wasn't planned, it just happened. And they decide whether or not to keep it, you know. But that's the thing. They decide. And see, the way I look at the situation is, if you are the parent and you decided to have a baby, because basically you know, couldn't use protection, or, make sure that you didn't have a baby, I am going to say this. Don't you think it's your responsibility to make sure that that infant understands what life is about, that they're about to, go into because you brought them into this world, don't you think you should kind of sit down, not just talk about the birds and the bees, like talk about money management, talk about how it is when you get a job, when you work 9 to 5, possibly overtime, credit cards, bills, how much it normally costs to live by yourself, getting a car, having good credit, keeping good credit, saving money in the bank. I mean, I'm just saying, to me, I feel like that would be some very good topics to speak about? I mean, what do you think? I think that if I had a baby or a child, I think I would want that son or daughter to understand credit. I think I would want that son or daughter to understand credit score. I think I would want that son or daughter to understand how to open a bank account, how to manage the money in the bank account, how to save money so that, when a rainy day or something negative happens, they can pull money from that account to help them out. I would want to teach them about how to, get a job, how to dress for a job, how to interview properly, how to decide what career path you want to go through, and, when you get a job, how to allocate yourself to the point where you do well and work hard so you can move up within your position and hopefully maybe start a career out of it. I mean, like I said, these are things I just feel like parents should talk about with their kids, you know, how not to use drugs at appropriate times, if not at all, not break the law, basically, so that, you don't go to jail and stay there, and, how to not be racist or sexist or fascist, you know, how to be not to be judgmental towards others. 'Cause I've noticed that, if you ever want to know how the parent is, just focus on the child. Seriously. If you want to know how a parent is, just look at their kids. It'll tell you right off the back, in most cases, this is the parent, this is what they're all about, this is how they think, this is what they consider, this is what their thoughts and judgments are concerned. Because let's think about it. The kids are around the parents and they're learning from the parents. Whether the parents are thinking about it or not, that's one thing, but the kids, they're watching everything. They're watching, they're listening, they're soaking it all in like a sponge. And basically, they're thinking, okay, well, my dad did this, my mom did this, so this is what I need to do too. This is what they say is okay, so I'm going to think this is okay. This is how they handle things, so I'm going to handle it too. And granted, when kids get older, they do change a little bit and they start to quote unquote get their own self image and their own appeal as far as how they want to live life and do life, because now they have basically the ability of choice where they can choose to do things without their parents overbearingly telling them no, or overbearingly telling them you can't do this because this is not what you're going to do and you're going to do what I say or else. So, yeah, there is a time where kids will become adults and then we'll get that, hopefully, opportunity to basically do things and make decisions on their own. But until then, they're basically soaking up everything their parents are doing. And let me tell you, it's amazing when you look at a child and listen as they grow and become an adult, and you go, my God, what has happened? What did the parent teach this child? What did the parents do for this person, this individual? Because clearly they didn't pay attention, or they just didn't care, because of how the child's life has become and how their actions and what they do show nothing but more so negativity in the world than positivity. And it's also interesting how parents tend to not focus or be observant of their kids when they're depressed or, you know, sad or confused. And I understand, because you'll hear this all the time from a parent, all the time. Well, I really didn't know what I was doing. There was not a parenting guide I could read. I just, it happened and I had to figure it out as I could day by day. But guess what? There is a parenting guide now. You can read parenting guides out there. Now, I'm saying you take it all for whatever they say and just do what they say, but there are references now where you can actually, learn how to be a possible proper parent. So that whole I didn't know what I was doing, I didn't have any references, and I just had to learn as I went on day by day. Mm, yeah, no. You can make a difference now. It's just whether or not you want to choose to make a difference, and more so whether or not you want to take the time out to make a difference for them. To spend time with your kids. Yeah, I said that. Spend time with your kids, not time like movies and stuff, like teaching time, educational time. Help them to understand from your experiences how to do better so they don't make the same mistakes that you do or you did. I mean, wouldn't you want to improve your child? I would hope so. Now, this also gets me about parents too. Another thing about parents that's very interesting. Parents will always say, I want the best for my child. But they always think that the best is what they consider the best. They never think about what if the child likes what's going on in their life? What if the child feels like this is something that they actually want and this is something that they feel would actually be prominently good for them? Don't you think you should support your child? Shouldn't you just say, well, they're happy, let me support them in doing what they're doing? Instead of just going against them and saying, no, this is not what you need to do, you shouldn't do this, and you need to just get out of the situation. Because you're bringing negativity towards them, you're bringing anxiety towards them, you're actually making them feel depressed. You're in a very unfamiliar way making them feel like an idiot or stupid or calling them dumb. Because you're basically saying that they're not able to make proper and correct decisions on their own. That, basically is good for them. Now just think about that as a parent. Think this is what you're doing to your child. You don't think maybe you should have thought about that before just being accusatory and accusing them of doing the wrong thing and, telling them how terrible it is and how negative it is and how it shouldn't be like that? I mean, when you were a child, didn't you want to do certain things and your parents were not very, quote unquote, agreeable with it? But you did it anyway, didn't you? And some of those things were bad, yeah, and you learned from it, but some of those things were good. And your parents were wrong about it. But it's interesting how when you grow up and you become older as a parent, you forget about those things that you as a child wanted to do and how you wished your parents then do certain things. Because all you're thinking is, oh, I need to protect my child. I know what's best for them. They don't understand. I need to make sure that they are safe and protected, and I need to make these decisions because, in all honesty, they're just going to make the wrong ones. I mean, really? And then when they get a job, please, for the love of God, do not tell your child when they get an actual career job, oh, I'm so proud of you. You got a big girl or a big boy job. Really? You got a big girl or a big boy job. Do you know how you sound saying that? I'm just saying. Big boy, big girl job. Like, are we still in preschool? Because clearly you don't see your child as an adult, even though they're actually the age of one. You still see them as a child. And you still think that you have to protect them and you have to guide them and you have to control them because you feel like if they're not controlled, they're going to make the wrong mistakes and they're not going to do well in life because only you know right and you know best. And clearly, they don't know enough. They're not smart enough educational wise. They're not in any way brilliant enough to handle things on their own because, they need you only. So you're calling your child dumb in case you didn't realize that. You're basically saying your child is worthless and stupid unless they basically, do what you tell them. Hope you realize that because that's what they're thinking now. That's why they